When I first read about the concept for a robot named Fight, I was hesitant to say the least. It is necessary to be objective when reviewing games, but the thought of a Metroidvania-style game that was both procedurally generated and roguelike just struck me as something that I would hate. Much of my success in the genre has always been reliant on map familiarity, power-up placement, and pattern recognition. So how could I enjoy a game that hit restart on me every time I died? As it turns out, the answer is a lot. While I was initially overwhelmed with just how influenced by Super Metroid the graphics were, that feeling soon faded. What was left was a mix of nostalgic impressions and an appreciation for the work put into the original assets. All of the backgrounds and location skins were well detailed and carried a bit of a dark tone thematically. Similarly, the enemy and boss designs were context and location appropriate, while also carrying a bit of a demonic influence that could elicit memories of the original Doom title. For a game with so many varied and random abilities and upgrades, they were all fairly distinct from one another and easily identifiable for their use and effectiveness. As a fan of the 16-bit generation of gaming, this is a prime example of quality graphics work. Appreciation is also necessary for the music and the sound design. It is rare for me to not play my own soundtrack when running through a game that doesn't have voice acting, but for this title that didn't happen. All of the melodies were kept simple, but that is in no way a negative, as they were all completely appropriate for the mood of the game. Sound effects were also spot on, from the crackling of a lightning-charged weapon to the satisfying splat that a smaller enemy would make when crushed by a missile. If I had one complaint about the sound, it would be the voiceover work done during the intro cutscene. It was not good. Since this was the only part of the game that provided story, and it sounded like someone was talking through a mechanical tube, it would have been better just kept as a word crawl. Speaking of which, the story itself was not good. The robot gods have ascended, leaving the lower robots to fend for themselves. The poorly named Mega Beast has invaded and spilled its minions, also poorly named meat, onto the world. It is your job to fight back this invasion and save the planet. The reason that this did not negatively impact my opinion of the game is because it just doesn't matter. After the initial cutscene, which can be skipped, there is no need for story. Your adventure is shaped by the exploration and the combat that you experience. And those experiences are ever-changing, as this is a procedurally generated game. Room, enemy, and power-up placements are randomized whenever you begin a new run. That being said, there is still some benefit to memorization, as when there is an item in a room of a similar structure, it is usually behind the same hidden wall or breakable environment piece as the last time. Similarly, there are a finite number of bosses, so while you may never know which one you will face or when, if you play long enough, you can learn all of their patterns. The bigger concern would be if you are lucky enough to get enough health upgrades or weapon abilities that you like to deal with them at the time. This is where the progression and the replay come from. Sure, a complete run of the game can take only an hour or two, but being well equipped enough to do so will require multiple runs first. As you progress to new zones or beat a boss for the first time, you will unlock a new power that can be obtained, still at random, in a future playthrough. Some of these unlocks, like a one-time respawn chamber, will serve vital in improving your odds of success. Even after the Mega Beast has been defeated, those who consider themselves completionists will want to keep playing, as there could be more bosses and upgrades that have yet to be obtained. For many, the final credits will not represent being done with the title by any means. I am so glad that I didn't let my assumptions on the game prevent me from playing it, because developer Matt Bitner knocked it out of the park with this unique title that could be viewed as a love letter to Super Metroid and so much more. At the low release price of $9.99, this is an easy recommendation. Any fan of the aforementioned title, the genre as a whole, or just solid retro gaming should already be playing a robot named Fight.
Hey, did you like that video? If you did, be sure to let us know by clicking the like button and leaving a comment. If you want to be first in line for any new content, be sure to subscribe to our channel and then hit up our Facebook page. The link's in the description below to see what's coming up next.